doing good, and I'll go ahead and answer your first question. The answer is yes. I've always been this good looking.
Okay. Which technology do you feel, or do you use the most?
Cell phone and internet. I access all of my email, both my personal email and school email. I access my kids through, obviously, telecommunications and my wife, and we use text messaging a lot within our family.
The second question, which technology advancement do you think was more advanced than the time?
Was the most advanced for its time. The ability to use internet on your phone, do you think that's a bit ahead of its time?
That was huge, because what happened was a lot of times you'd be talking to someone and you go, I want to go ahead and send that to you, and you got to reach for another piece of technology to do it. You're in your car, you want access on the internet, you didn't have that ability. So yeah, internet access via your handheld was huge. It is huge.
If you could create an app, what would it be? Like an app for like an iPhone or something? What would you
Would
create?
be helpful for you.
Well, they actually came up with it for the iPhone, and that is when you lose it, you have the ability to find it, because I've lost 5 cell phones in my lifetime. So, yeah, Apple has, on the iPhone, has the ability to do that. You would call, and you can actually locate it by your code and all of that. It's pretty slick.
Wow.
Yeah.
How often do you use your cell phone?
Oh. all the time. In fact, it becomes I am convinced it's become the bane of our existence. Some of the things that we're losing in this process with cell phone and technology is our writing skills, because we're using the little short codes for texting and things like that. And I don't think we're real good we are substituting the use of cell phones when at the expense of human communication and dialogue. And that concerns me, because I see people, we lose, in some respects, we're losing our manners. Example of that is, I can see 2 people talking, the cell phone rings, they blow off the person that they're talking to.
If all phones and communications broke down in the U.S., how will your life change?
I could survive, because I lived through a time you guys haven't. You haven't experienced life without that technology.
I would die.
I've lived with it. Well, surprisingly enough, you say you'd die, and we laugh, and we all say that.
Yeah,
You wouldn't, and what you would probably find is, in some respects, the quality of your life would improve, because what you'd find is it would be an adjustment period, because you'd have to learn how to do exchanges like this and understand hand gestures, things we don't do as often now, because we're on the cell phone and technology so much. We've lost that personal nature between 2 human beings. In some respects, it would be kind of nice if we got back to that, because sometimes I think kids lose touch with their parents, parents lose touch with their kids, and so, a lot of times we see the infrastructure in a family breaking down.
Would you rather read a book on a screen or on a paper? Like on a book?
Read a book on paper.
Your paper?
On paper. I'm an old traditional guy. I'm not used to that. I've tried it. I do a lot of reading. I feel the technology is better for short burst reading. I mean short bursts like text messages, things like that. I think it's hard for someone that's older, that's eyes are failing. The small screen's tough. Now I do like the iPad, but I don't like reading books on that. I'll read newspaper articles, short ones, but long-term reading, I prefer paper copy. Truth of the matter is, even when I have 50 emails to read, if they're lengthy ones, I'll print them out and read them.
If you could invest in the communications industry, what company would you choose?
Well, I actually had uncles that were all doctors that in the 30s and 40s invested in the Bell operating companies, which are what are now AT&T and what would be today the powerful wireless companies. And they were just as huge and pervasive in those days. So they all became very wealthy from that. Unfortunately, our side of the family didn't make that investment, so we're not wealthy as a result of that. So if I had to do it over again, I would have liked to have bought a lot of Apple stock. That would have been great. Microsoft would have been good. But in my lifetime, I did okay with the companies that I worked for. Our stock did very well. I was very happy in my business career.
Last question. What do you think the next communication advancement will be?
I personally think pretty much, I personally think that the iPad is probably going to take the place of most desktop units. And what will happen is you'll have an iPad or a watch-like device that'll be your hub. Why are we carrying around a phone when we wear things on our wrist? That this will be something like your watch, maybe with a little bigger screen. It'll all be verbal with a camera in it. be able to see things, you'll be able to talk through it, call people through it, visually see people and vice versa. And then when you get to your car, it'll automatically link into your car. You'll have a screen there. That'll become your visual like we have today. Only today, it'll be a camera both ways. Okay. Similar to most people don't realize that it's pretty easy to communicate both ways out of your hand. I think the phone in the house is a thing of the past. And the reason I say that is you have a pipe coming into your house that you get your entertainment from. That's going to be your communication vehicle. It's going to be your phone. It's going to be the hub of the house. So when I leave my car, when I go to my car, I immediately default to that. When I'm out of the car, it comes back to here. When I get to the house, I'm linked in. My TV turns on automatically, and I go from room to room. Bill Gates already has all this stuff.
Yeah, in his house.
It's not like we don't see the future. They're already doing it. Bill Gates has got screens that change every time he walks in a room. It changes to a different painting from around the world, from his art collection and others.
All right, last question.
But I enjoy working with kids more than working with adults and selling computers. It was a great experience, but I see a difference in my life working with kids versus what I did in my computer career.
Okay.
Yeah, you're in a great time. It's advancing so fast. It's not funny. You know, the internet came when I first started using it. It wasn't called the internet. Today, you get it on your handhelds. I mean, you know, it's pretty cool. You guys are in a great age, and I want to compliment you. You're the most advanced technological generation in history, and your kids will be more advanced than you. Just remember one thing, though. It's about human interaction. It's not about the technology. It's to help human interaction. Don't let the technology take precedent over that. Because right now I see it a lot where we blow off a person to take a phone call. Think about how rude that is to another human being, that we would do that. I just caution you, because this is what matters, folks. When you get older, you realize it's about human beings. It ain't about, I got the latest gadget. All right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoyed talking with you. All right?
Thank you.
Have a good one.